What's up, YouTube? It's Ryan from AnnihilatorMTG here, and we're back again with some more Modern. The list that I'm going to be going with today is a pretty cool one. We're playing Rakdos Waste Not. Now, for those of you who are unaware, Waste Not's a really cool card. It's a black enchantment that costs 1 and a black that says, whenever our opponent discards a creature, we get to generate a 2/2 black zombie token. Whenever they discard a land, we add 2 black mana to our pool, and whenever they discard literally anything else, we get to draw a card. And since this is not a legendary enchantment, we can have multiple copies on the board, kind of creating a pseudo storm-based effect, especially when leveraging things like Burning Inquiry and Dark Deal. Outside of those two enabler cards, we have what equates to a bog standard Rakdos midrange deck with a pretty clean mana base. There's an argument to be made about running Blood Moon, but I'm not sure how impactful that would be in the current meta. It's definitely worth trying though, so I might do that a little bit later. As for the sideboard, we have 3 Spell Bombs, 3 Damping Spheres, 3 Brutalities, 2 Plague Engineers, 2 Ashioks, and 2 K Commands. So I'm pretty excited to give this deck a whirl. Let's hop into the queue and see if we can make some zombies. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent. Best of luck to you, my friend, and let's see what we got here. Well, we don't have a Waste Not, but we have a lot of pieces that I think could work out in our favor, so I'm kind of inclined to keep this, to be honest. It's not perfect, but it's close. So I think we're going to play like a Verdant Catacombs and just pass. If we need to push, we will. We'll just get a basic if that's the case, and if not, we'll just go Blood Crypt tapped. We can also, if desperate, we can fetch, get a basic, or a shock, either or, it doesn't matter, and just cling to dust our own land and just cycle that way. That is definitely an option. Well, hopefully we don't get spell snared here. That is something that we do kind of have to worry about, but I don't expect that to be in most decks. If anything, it's probably just blue-white. I could be mistaken, though. Let's get a basic swamp here, and let's go for the Kroxa. Next turn, we have the Liliana. If we top deck a Waste Not, we can do Waste Not into Burning Inquiry. We've got a ton of options here. All right, Kroxa resolves. Okay, let's see what our opponent discards. Oh, wow, they discarded a basic island. That's interesting. So for now, we're just going to hard pass and see what our opponent's doing. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised by them choosing to discard a land. Typically, at least in my experience, I've found that most control players or people playing that type of deck generally prefer to have just like more lands so you can actually cast your spells and such. We got a Blackcleave Cliffs. That's decent. I think we just jam here. We just jam the Liliana, force them to have the counterspell, and if they don't, then they're in a lot of trouble. All right, they're cracking it, so let's see if they have something or if they're just like growth spiraling or something like that. Okay, Remand. Interesting. Remand. So they must be doing some form of Scapeshift variant, I assume. I could be mistaken. Maybe this is just the Teamer deck. That's fair too. Yeah, that might also just be what it is. I'm super used to like, oh wow, Remand and a Breeding Pool and Island. I'm like, oh, it must be the old, Rug Scapeshift deck, because I used to play that back in the day. It was a lot of fun, and it probably still is, especially with Uro and all that. Man, must be some good stuff. Okay, well, there's a Waste Not. That's pretty good. Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to Blood Crypt and take the damage. Let's jam the Waste Not, see what they do. They might not be too thrilled to see this, I must say. What have we here? Remand. Play it again. No problem. Jam the Waste Not. Okay. So they merely cycled their Remand, and now we're kind of at that phase in the game where so much of our deck is just so much better now because of Waste Not. It just turns everything else into kind of like this value machine. Now, of course, if they have some way to get rid of it, then we're definitely in trouble, but it makes Lily better. It makes Inquiry just an amazing card. There is so much potential here, for sure. All right, there's a Bauble. Let's play that first. See what they're gonna draw here. Lightning Bolt. It's not a very good card in this matchup, I don't think. All right, let's jam the Burning Inquiry, see if they panic. Because this is a tough choice. It's like, what do you do? Do you counter it or do you not? So, nice. Lots of value here. There's a Kroxa. That's excellent. Okay. Well, what do we do here? I think we jam the land, and then I'm going to try to force them to counter this Liliana. Then I will cling to dust their Uro. Yeah, just get it over with. Okay, that's good stuff. All right, we're in a phenomenal position here. They're not likely going to ever really want to counter the Kroxa on the way down, so to speak. And did they just kill a zombie token? Wow. But either way, all of our discard outlets are very resilient, and a lot of them are repeatable, so I feel like we're in a good spot here, just on average. I'm very confident in how things are going. Okay, they play a Mystic Sanctuary. That's not too great. If they have like an opt, then they're in a really good spot, at least from that perspective. If not, then it is what it is. All right, let's take a look here. Thoughtseize. Oh, that's phenomenal. All right, well, let's lead with that. Scapeshift, double bolt. Well, this is an interesting predicament. It certainly is. We could take the bolt, we'll draw a card. Scapeshift, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're not there yet. They're close. Let's take a bolt, which seems strange, but I have a plan. Very interesting. Let's go Liliana. We'll uptick. If they discard a land, they're going to get punished pretty hard. Let's get rid of the push. Yeah, if they dump a land, they're going to be punished. If they dump the bolt, then the Lily just stays alive. If they dump the Scapeshift, then I'm happy about that. Nice. Okay, this is working. The Scapeshift gets worse if they, for the most part, just don't have the lands to make it effective. So by doing this and putting them in this situation, I'm more or less saying, hey, you know, you had a chance. You should have just given up the Scapeshift and done it that way. They give up the bolt, so now they have land Scapeshift. So we're just going to hard pass here. They're going to top deck a Cryptic Command, which is pretty relevant. It'll be interesting to see if they do something like return to hand draw or something like that. I will likely just uptick first and then go from there. All right, let's take a look. Second Lily, that's interesting. All right, let's uptick and we'll pitch the Inquisition. Let's see if they give up the Scapeshift or the Cryptic. They might return the Waste Knot in response just to like diminish value slightly, try to get ahead in terms of tempo just a little bit. It's not going to really matter, unfortunately for them. They don't realize that yet, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, yeah, that fits, I suppose. Still going to dump the Inquisition. Okay, I'll replay the Waste Knot. Then I will bring back a Kroxa from the graveyard and get rid of a bunch of lands. Let's see here. All right, so whatever card they have left, they're going to get rid of it. It was another Scapeshift. Wow, that's pretty darn brutal, I must say. Yeah, I think we're in a pretty dominant position here. If they top deck like another Scapeshift, it's functionally useless. They top deck the land, that's good for them from the perspective of like now they can actually Scapeshift for lethal. However, I can cling to dust to save myself if need be, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know how much that's going to matter. Or we could kill here. Let's see. Just move on to attacks. This deck is really strong when it comes to damage, and like Kroxa is just phenomenal at dealing quite a bit of it. We bolt them, we Kroxa, triggers still happen, and they lose. Okay, so Teamer Scapeshift. I'm pretty sure Ashioks are absolutely phenomenal here. The Spell Bombs are probably pretty good against the Uro. The question is, Fatal Push, probably bad. What else do we get rid of, though? Do we need the Spell Bombs, or is the Ashiok just enough? Because we got the Cling to Dust. We might be able to cut the Dreadbores for Brutalities, even? Yeah, that's a cool idea. Sure, let's go with this. Alrighty, looks like we're in here in game number 2, and this hand seems pretty darn good. We've got quite a bit of action in terms of stuff that our opponent hates. I love the early game hand attack, and we've got the mana to pretty much cast everything. So we'll keep this for sure. And if we can sneak in like an Ashiok or a Liliana, I think we're going to be in a phenomenal spot. Interesting. Just jamming a Valakut just like that. Well, this hand is also prime for a Waste Knot. We have so much strength to combo off with. And a Renin 6. That would be pretty awful to deal with. Yeah, let's get rid of the Renin 6 for sure. Don't want them having any more value than they're inevitably going to have. Okay, so they're holding up a Remand, is what it is. Cool thing here is we can just jam the Inquisition, make them cycle it, if they're even going to decide to do so, because they can like hit nothing, then we just take the bolt. It's a complicated thing. I guess they'll probably do it no matter what. All right, they cracked the Misty. Okay, they got a Steam Vents, and where's the Remand? There it is. Okay, let's play a Blood Crypt. I wanted to play my land afterwards to kind of give them the illusion that we were just stuck on a one-lander. Even if they didn't care at all, I just didn't want to give them any more information than we had to at that juncture. Okay, so they're all lands, which is, you know, it is what it is. If they play the Scalding Tarn, the Ashiok is a lot worse. Okay, so I'm definitely inclined to jam the Liliana the Veil for now. Let's play the Bauble. Let's look at the top card of their deck. Another land, interesting. Just jam the Lily. It does not get countered. Phenomenal. Okay, let's... Ooh, okay. All right, they get a Triome. I think I'm just going to lose the Dark Deal. to be honest, because the Burning Inquiry, whenever we play it, it's guaranteed 3 discards instead of, you know, if we end up just in like a top deck scenario, the Dark Deal is just a lot worse. Bobble Trigger. We hit a Kroxa, so that's pretty good. I prefer a Waste Not at this current time, but, you know, what it is what it is. Thoughtseize, that's nice. Let's uptick here first before we do anything else. Pitch the Burning Inquiry just to see. I'm curious. Okay. I think we can get away with just jamming the Ashiok. I feel as if they don't have much. That could be a huge mistake on my part, but having 2 very strong Planeswalkers on the board at the same time is just phenomenal. Let's see what they do. There's a Remand, a Censor. They're cycling a Censor. Okay. What? Why would they cycle a Censor? Why wouldn't they just cast it? Huh. Okay, sure. I mean, they probably misclicked or something. They might be tired, because that doesn't make any sense. All right, they lost a Growth Spiral, a Misty. They lost a lot of lands, which is maybe relevant. So, all right, I'm happy with how our board looks, and our hand is filled with some really powerful stuff, and they can't search anymore, which is nice. Okay, they're going to opt. No problem. Stomping Ground tapped. Okay. Wrenn and 6. All right. Let's see if they just attack the Ashiok. Oh, no, they're going for the Lily. Interesting. Guess they're afraid of the ultimate, and rightfully so. Okay. Second Kroxa. Interesting. Let's uptick the Lily. We'll ditch the Thoughtseize. Target them again. Okay. Escape Shift, Sensor, Growth Spiral. Not bad. Jam the Kroxa. They'll take 3. All right. Now, if we top deck a red source, then we can just jam the Kroxa from the graveyard and escape with it. If not, we can just play the one in hand. I wouldn't hate a Lightning Bolt to deal with this Wrenn and 6, but I don't know if the game's going to last long enough for it to really be a problem. At least not a legitimate one. All right. Seems our opponent's just hard passing. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Let's... Actually... Let's uptick. I think I'm going to ditch the Kroxa, to be honest. I'm doing this so if they have some kind of weird counter, I'm baiting it out of their hand or just getting rid of it entirely, and then I can Lightning Bolt, take out the Wrenn and 6, just in case. You never really want to, you know, get yourself, that kind of thing. Okay, what have we here? Cryptic, okay. Well, I guess that paid off. Huh. All right. Still think we just ditch the Kroxa, which is fine. Now we bolt the Wrenn and 6... exile the graveyard. All right. Well, that's pretty good. They're down on Cryptics, that's for sure. Now, a single Lightning Bolt can kill the Ashiok, and that is relevant. However, I still personally just prefer to not stretch it as far as it goes in terms of exiling the graveyard, but pretty darn close, honestly. All right, let's get a Lily here. We'll uptick, discard our Cling to Dust. That'll be useful later. All right, see what they're playing. They play an Uro. All right, okay. Well, this is just what we needed, oddly enough. All right, let's get a basic mountain. Let's have them discard, and they can see, they scoop it up. I saw the writing on the wall. Good stuff, opponent. That was pretty fun. All right, we found our opponent here, and our hand is pretty decent. All we really need is a Waste Not, and I feel like we'll be in a pretty good spot. I would like a Thoughtseize too, for sure, and hopefully our opponent isn't playing discard, but I guess if they are, we have a pretty good hand, so we'll keep this, for sure. Good luck to you, opponent. All right, Peatland and a green. Hierarch. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so I think I'm going to get a Blood Crypt, or maybe even just a mountain, honestly. Yeah, I think I'm just going to get a basic mountain and just bolt the Hierarch, slow him down a bit. I want to fetch because I want to thin out the deck at least a little bit in terms of lands, even if that percentage is not significant. Oh, Glistener Elf, all right. Oh, this is hilarious. This is literally the deck we played. Like, literally. That's phenomenal. That is super cool. I didn't expect to see this on Magic Online at all. But all right, let's Dreadbore it. Okay. Will this be a Blossoming Defense? Most likely. There we go. All right. Well, at least we wasted one of their pump spells, and we can always just Liliana next turn. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully they don't just have it. Oh, wow, they just have it, don't they? Whoo boy, man. Okay, well, this is going to be a little difficult. This is definitely going to be a little bit difficult. Let's bring in the Brutalities for sure. Plague Engineers are interesting because they kind of just name Elf and it just dies immediately. It can't do anything. And it also has Death Touch, so that's kind of relevant. Cling to Dust is probably not that important. Let's see here. We could probably cut a Lurrus because we're not that fast. And then what else? What else? Let's see. I guess maybe we don't need the Plague Engineers. We can just go with the Brutalities and just kind of go that way. Sure, whatever. We'll try this. We'll try this. Alright, best of luck to my opponent, and let's try not to get completely destroyed on turn 2 again. So we have a push, we have a Waste Not, we have a Dark Deal, and a Burning Inquiry. We have a lot of potential here. This is very, very good. Let's play the Bauble, and then let's hit us with that, because I want to see what's on top. Inquisition, that's probably good. So let's play the Bloodstained Mire, and yeah, we'll draw the Inquisition. That's fine. All right. So let's see if they have a infect creature. They do not. Interesting. So we'll crack this and then go like that. The interesting thing here is since they don't have a turn 1 play, we don't die no matter what for the most part. So let's do this. We'll crack it. We'll get a... well, I guess they're infect, so it doesn't matter. We'll do this, and we'll play the Waste Not. And then next turn we can Dark Deal, and this is going to be insane. All right, we'll hard pass. Still nothing. Ooh, another Waste Not. Okay. Well, we'll do it this way then. We'll play the second Waste Not. Then I think I want to just Inquisition, get that targeted discard. All right. Plague Stinger. Well, this is weird. They're just choosing not to... This is very strange. I don't really understand what they're doing. Okay. Well, I'm going to take the scale up because I want to draw... All right, we hit a Bauble and a Thoughtseize. Let's play the Bauble. All right, we know what's in their hand. We'll do that. They just get a replacement scale up, of course. Okay. Now that we have double Waste Not, doing the Dark Deal is going to be just unbelievably good. So unbelievably good. Although, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, the Dark Deal is way more high impact than the Burning Inquiries, so we'll just do this. Although we could push into Inquiries. That's a decent idea. We could push, then Thoughtseize, then Inquiry. That might just be better. Interesting. Although Dark Deal is pretty darn ridiculous, I must say. But they have flying, so yeah, let's do it this way. Yeah, I guess. I guess you just have to, right? Then we'll Thoughtseize. I think I'll still take the... no. Let's take the Plague Stinger. 2 zombies. We'll go Burning Inquiry. Lots of triggers. An absolute ton of triggers. Holy cow. That's pretty ridiculous. Okay. Then we'll do basic Swamp, Thoughtseize. This is hilarious. What's going on right now? All right, and I scoop it up. Okay. Well, that was very absurd. I don't necessarily know if that's representative of how the matchup actually goes, but let's submit, see if we can do that again. Okay, this is a pretty interesting hand. I feel like this is definitely keepable. Wow, they go all the way down to 5. That's a bit aggressive, in my opinion. All right, Overgrown Tomb. They hit us with an Inquisition. That's, I mean, geez. That's kind of insane, in my opinion. Like, mulliganing down to hand attack, and then you're just going to play that game, and they scoop it up. Wow, this is, I guess people just aren't having it today. I feel kind of bad, but on to the next one, I guess? All right, looks like we found our opponent and won the die roll. Best of luck. Oh, boy. This is a tough one. I mean, we don't really have that many relooks. We just hope that we draw a black source. If we do, it's really good. If we don't, this hand is awful. So I think we got a mulligan. I don't like it, but it is what it is. Well, okay. This is decent. I think we can keep Ship a Field. Sure. All right. So let's cast the Bauble, then look at their top card, Thoughtseize. That's unfortunate. Goodbye. Waste Not. Best we can hope for now is a duplicate copy. Dreadbore. Not great. All right. Well, we're in a little bit of trouble here now. Mishra's Bauble. Mishra's Bauble. All right. So I'm assuming this is some kind of, yeah, Death Shadow deck. It's unfortunate. Maybe they hit the Dreadbore. Who knows? I can't imagine. That would be silly, in my opinion. Thing is we can always get the Waste Not back with a Lurrus, but it has to survive because there's no way we're going to get to 5 lands, I don't think. And they hit the Lurrus. Wow. Incredible. Very strange. All right, we'll yield to that. Got a Kroxa. That's fine. Let's Waste Not. Hopefully we can draw land next turn. Then we can Lily or Kroxa or, you know, whatever. They crack their Bauble. They draw. They draw for real. Okay. So they're up to 7. They Waste Not. We get a zombie. Or, sorry, they Street Wraith. We get a Waste Not trigger. Get a zombie. That's pretty hilarious. That is really funny, actually. Kind of complicates things for them. All right. Polluted Delta. What do they get? Suma Blood Crypt. Yep. All right. Now, what do they play? Thoughtseize, perhaps? Gourmet Angler. All right. Well, I assume that they have a Stubborn Denial. That's my guess. Yeah, that is my assumption. So I'm going to Dreadbore, because missing that is less impactful in my opinion than the Liliana. If we get that fizzled, that's just not good. Guess they're deciding on how worth it is to Stubborn Denial of Dreadbore, or they just never had it. That's interesting. All right, we'll swing in with a zombie. This is a bit risky because obviously they're playing Death Shadow, but I feel like we might have a window here, depending on what we draw. Blood Crypt, tapped. That's interesting. All right, Death Shadow. Now the question is do they have a Stubborn Denial? They seem to not have one last turn. All right, let's give it a whirl. It's Liliana. There's the stubs. Okay. If we top deck a red source, we might be in a very good position here. It depends. I'm a little bit concerned. Not too much, but still, I think we'll let that through. That might be a huge mistake, but it is what it is. Okay. So now we're down to 12. What will they do? They're paying costs. All right. That's a big one. All right, it changes things a little bit. Inquisition, that could be very good. We Inquisition, what will they do? Temur Battle Rage and a Street Wraith. Okay. We draw a card, red source. Okay. We have a Kroxa and a Lightning Bolt. That's, I don't know. I guess we can just Kroxa, and if they lose the land, they take the damage. That's pretty relevant. We can always just block the Death Shadow. They can't cycle the Street Wraith. That's just not an option. Okay. Now we just hold back a zombie token blocker and then end step Lightning Bolt, then bring back the Kroxa. Yeah, this will be interesting. I'm very much intrigued to see what they can do. They Dismember. It's a bit rough. All right. GG's. Now, what do we do about these guys? I think probably Spell Bombs are decent. Might be better than like a Dark Deal. We could probably cut a Bolt. I think I'm fine with that, just the way it is. All right, we'll play first here. Hit yes. Okay, we've got a lot of options here. I like the push. I like the Cling to Dust. I like the Spell Bomb. I would prefer some hand attack, but this is okay. We have the lands to play what we need. If they hit us with some hand attack, they're likely just going to take the push, so that's relevant. We can just bobble Spell Bomb, go from there, I guess. Yeah. We'll bobble, target them, Blackleaf Cliffs, Spell Bomb, pass. They're going to top deck a Watery Grave. Oh, they mulliganed pretty darn aggressively. Wow. 4? Nice, and an Inquisition. So, interestingly enough, if they Thought Seize us and hit a Fatal Push, then we're just going to crack back and hit them with the Inquisition, and they do nothing. It's not very good for them, at least. All right, let's crack this. And then we'll get a Swamp, hit them with the Inquisition. Then we can hold up a Cling to Dust and just cycle it if need be. What have we here? A Spell Bomb of their own. Well, I think we'll take the Stubborn Denial and then just find a way to deal with the Spell Bomb. All right, so they crack the Bloodstained Mire, get a Watery Grave, untapped, take some damage. Then they will Thought Scour, targeting themselves. Another Thought Scour, Inquisition, land. Okay. Spell Bomb. Okay. I think I'm going to take the opportunity to just crack the Spell Bomb, cycle it for value, take out their yard, go from there, get another land. Gross. They get their Spell Bomb. They pass. We draw. Geez. More lands. All right, let's crack this. Let's get a red source. Just go from there. We can cycle the Cling to Dust. We have the push held up. We have a bolt if need be. I don't think we're going to need that until we're going for the kill. All right. Got a Polluted Delta. See if I can goad them into popping the Spell Bomb here. Nope. We got a Liliana too. That's phenomenal. All right. And a Dreadbore. Perfect. Okay. So let's Lily. We're protected from a Stubborn Denial, which is phenomenal. Let's uptick, and I think we're going to ditch the Blackleaf Cliffs. Honestly, at this point in time, and this might just be sheer arrogance on my part, I don't see how we lose from here. They would have to have just a miracle series of draws, and God forbid we actually get a Waste Not, and they're already choosing to just accept their losses on the Spell Bomb. Maybe they have another one in hand, who knows. But yeah, I mean, if we get a Waste Not from here, it's just over, and they see that too. Okay, that was pretty darn good. Let's try that again. I don't think we're going to get that lucky. I mean, they mulliganed to 4. The chances of us getting that lucky again isn't exactly high, but I guess depending on our draws and if we can have some early game interaction and some redundancy, we might be able to close this one out. Okay, what have we here? Double Bolt, Bobble, Thought Seize. Honestly, I don't like this at all. Double Bolt, it basically, they're blank. Yeah, let's mulligan. That's better. That's way better. Okay. Let's ship a field. We have redundant Waste Not, which means that we're protected from an opening Inquisition or Thoughtseize, and then we can Inquisition and take their second piece of hand attack if they happen to have one, and if they don't, then we take either a threat or some kind of counterspell to enable our Waste Not to actually resolve. We might also just take like a Death Shadow if you know, that's really all the action they have. They cycle their Street Wraith, okay. Another one. Will we see a really early, like, Tasigur, perhaps? Inquisition, all right. Problem here is our Inquisition can't take a Gurmag if they happen to have one, and I honestly don't think they're playing Tasigur anymore. That was an old split. You don't really see that as often anymore. All right, so Bobble Trigger. They draw a card. Lightning Bolt, not the best. Let's crack this, get a Swamp, get in with the Inquisition, and see what they have. Oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's take the Thoughtseize for obvious reasons. So they have Double Threat, Dismember, Spell Bomb. That's pretty relevant, to be honest. Let's see if they try to jam, and they do. Okay. Well, jam the Waste Not, get it over with. Hopefully our life total can stay high enough for the time being so that we can bolt this and it actually works. Chances of that aren't great. Let's see here. Do they have a Death Shadow? No, they're just playing another one. All right. And a Spell Bomb? Yep. Okay. Fatal Push? Ooh, nice. Okay. This is phenomenal. So, bolt one, push the other, and now all they have is a Dismember in hand, which I probably shouldn't have gotten rid of in that list, but that's okay. So, no big threats from them, just a piece of removal, a single piece. If we get like a Burning Inquiry, we're going to be in a really good spot here. And they just pop the Spell Bomb, trying to search for a threat or something. And if they hit hand attack, they're going to be in for a bit of a nasty surprise. Or a good surprise, depending on how you look at it. And they got nothing. Liliana. Okay, good. Let's crack this, and we'll get a Swamp. We're protected from a single Stubborn Denial, and they can't have two because one of their cards is a Dismember. Whether or not they brought in like a Negate, I don't know if they have that in the sideboard. I can't imagine. So we uptick here, and it's going to be a Dismember they're likely going to ditch. Oh no, they're just going to ditch a land. So 2 black mana that we're not going to use. So this Dismember being stuck in their hand for the time being is super not good for them, because if we can uptick Liliana, we draw cards, and it seems that they understand that. So GG's opponent. I did not think we were going to win that one. Alrighty, that was one heck of a series. This deck is truly a blast to play. Honestly speaking, it didn't even really feel all that weak compared to, say, a more run-of-the-mill mid-range deck. We can definitely tune it up a bit, though. I'm interested in trying out some copies of Scourge of the Skyclaves. I can definitely see why people are calling that the Black Tarmogoyf. I was a little bit unsure about the Blood Moons before the series, but after recording, it seems like Tron is on a little bit of a rise, so I think it's definitely time to throw those in there. Either way, thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay safe out there, and have a good one.